Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your midday market report for Wednesday, March 9th. Our weekly trip across the border, as we get to have our great friend, Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks at Wager Talk to talk some NHL, talk about how his week's going. Following his timeline, he is so hot. They need 2 Zambonis in between periods to keep that ice frozen. For the ECSI guys, nice little hockey last night, and Andrew will be shocked when I tell him we actually played the Capitals and Ovi scored twice for us. It's amazing. And then the Wild puck line plus 150 against the Rangers as soon as they pulled the plug on one of the best goalies in the league and they threw in the backup. It looked like a good spot and a good price, but without further ado, let's bring him in. Andrew McInnis. Good afternoon.
What is going on? Good afternoon, sir. How are you? Good.
Good yourself?
Hey, congrats to the Capitals bet there and Alexander Ovechkin coming through for you, as he's a little bit spotty sometimes, as we've talked about. But it was a good spot for the Capitals there last night. So good pick there.
I just thought the opening number looked a little low. And then as the day progressed, it got lower and lower. And it just smelled to me. And trust me, I was cursing. They were down. I was like, he's going to do it to me again. Tied it. Actually, they were down 2-0, right? And then they made it 2-2, then down 3-2. And then they had a big third period. They get the empty netter for 5-3. And thank God, because then Calgary scores to make it 5-4. So that was comical.
Nice price, though. Nice price.
Yeah. And then the Wild puck line we had yesterday against the Rangers, pretty comfortable there. We got them at plus 150 there. We're going to obviously go through tonight's slate for you. But I have to ask you quickly off the top of my head. Washington, I know in hockey you have no problem with the back-to-backs. Yet Edmonton opened up 130 tonight against Washington. And that was the same price that Calgary was, 135, 140. But I actually respect the Edmonton opening line today versus the Calgary line yesterday. Am I wrong there or am I missing something?
I like Edmonton too. It's just I don't know if I like any of their goaltenders. That's the problem, really. Because I do like Edmonton tonight. I think they're going to get back in the win column. I think it's a tale of one team that's won 3 straight, one team that's lost 3 straight, and you never really hear, because who was it the Edmonton played after Montreal? They played. I can't remember who did they play after. Chicago, was it? Or I can't remember. I don't know why it slipped in my mind. But when I look at this team, I was completely shocked, Jeff, to hear their head coaching and their entire coaching staff. I don't think I've ever heard in my life Edmonton get credit from their coach for good defense, but talked bad upon for bad offense. When's the last time we ever heard that happen? I mean, yeah, our top 6 didn't play very well, but our defense played well. I was shocked. I've never heard that, I don't think, from the coaching staff from the Edmonton Oilers. So if they can play a decent defensive game tonight against the Capitals, that should be feeling pretty good about themselves. I like our chances here with Edmonton. And also the playoff race. It's real right now.
Well, we talked about since the new head coach, Edmonton got that burst. They were playing well, and defensively they were playing real well. But I do look at their last 5. They're 1-4. They lost to Carolina. They beat Philly. Who doesn't? And then they lose at Chicago 4-3. They lose to your Habs 5-2, and then they followed up with a loss at Calgary.
Yes, the Flames. That's what I was forgetting about. Yeah. So the Battle of Alberta there, and I actually liked the under in that game, but I didn't think it would go like that. I didn't, but I kind of like, that's the thing. People look at certain games and they you got to try and find some positives, I guess. Maybe I'm just an optimist, but I kind of like the coaching staff saying that they were impressed with the defensive game because let's be honest, the Capitals offense, as much as they've looked good the past couple of games, Jeff, they are inconsistent still. And I think we're going to get a more desperate Oilers team here tonight. So I wouldn't talk anybody off the first period over either, but that division is shaping up in a crazy way. The playoff race is shaping up in a crazy way. I remember like a month and a half ago, or maybe it was even before Christmas when you and I were talking together, when I rattled off some of my future bets. One of the ones I'm sweating out right now is Nashville to miss the playoffs at plus 240. And the irony about sweating that out is that I pretty much I'm an Oilers fan because that's the only team that will probably be able to help me. It's one of those two teams, I think, So I think it's still a good price for where the position is at plus 240, but a lot needs to go my way for me to be able to catch that in Nashville misses.
So following your timeline, hot as a firecracker. I saw you talking about overs, and I'm a preacher here, not so much in hockey, but for public and the DGens, when in doubt, it's always the favorite and the over. And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago where the NBA went on like a 60-10 favorite run. And it just seems like it goes in streaks. And now here comes the NHL and overs. Let's backtrack a week since our last show and tell everyone how the week went in hockey and how you're trending this week. And are you seeing certain trends? You're talking about playoff races. It's really getting close. What are you seeing from where you're sitting?
Well, the last time we spoke, I was in a little bit of a rut. It wasn't like a bad losing streak by any means. It was kind of just I was having like 500 days or a little bit below 1 and 2 type days. So it's been good, off to a good start this week. And I really think the main part of my handicapping right now, I've been doing a lot of total stuff too, but the main part is just situational stuff, like I had the Pittsburgh Penguins against the Tampa Bay Lightning when they first started that road trip off. I'm forecasting the schedules quite a bit. I this year more than ever, Jeff, I'm almost predicting what type of bets I'm going to be on several days in advance. I had Florida last night versus Pittsburgh. You play Tampa, Carolina, then you play a Florida team. That's gotta be tough on you, And it was a close game, but just situations like that has really helped me. But let's be honest here. There's definitely going to be some letdown spots, and you talk about Toronto losing to Buffalo, Colorado losing again to Arizona. Like, to me, those are just games that I don't want to be involved in. I really don't. Unless I'm playing a total, I don't want to play a side in that because there's just nothing really to gain as far as playoff position. As far as leaping over that one team, it's just these teams playing spoiler, and I want to avoid it. But for the most part, it's all about the road trips for me. I'm a huge fan of picking my spots on a road trip for an under, picking my spots for backing the dog, and that's kind of, if you looked at any of my analysis or kind of like the stuff that I say here on this show, it's pretty much all about road trips and stuff. I don't think I can remember the last time I backed a team or it was even involved on a team and in a matchup where one team wasn't on the road for a while. So it's definitely a lot of situational plays going on. We are seeing lots of goals, though. I'm curious to see what the trade deadline brings us, Jeff, but it's always underwhelming, I believe. They hype it up on TSN, ESPN. I don't know how much the coverage is in America, but it's just so overhyped. But I think this year, more than a lot of years, we might see lots of movement this year with goalies and defensemen and stuff like that.
The locals were talking yesterday, which would be an easy move for the Bruins. I mean, we have McAvoy in a cloud of dust, and we, obviously need defensive help. Going to the Islanders, who aren't going anywhere, and getting Chara back for the rest of the year. At least he would add someone back there because, you talk about road trips, and I think this is imperative. The Bruins West Coast trip, 5-1, I think they were. Come home against the Kings, who they won in LA. I loved the Kings. I left it on the desk, though. I didn't take them plus the 175 or 170 or whatever it closed. And trust me, I was happy as a pig in doodle with a minute to go in the third period. But what happens? The Kings tie it with 29 seconds left, and then they win it in overtime. And as you know, in overtime, it's anyone's game. I mean, it takes 1-3 on one rush stop, and then here comes the other team. Or if you get to that shootout, so you do need some luck as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't even get me started on shootouts and overtimes. I'm like you. I do not like overtime at all. Overtime is where my bets go to die. I think underdogs go to die. But it's super exciting. And I got to ask you as far as volume goes, I'm just curious because for me, it's a little bit different. But even on these bigger slates, I like with you, do you find that if there's like 13 games on the board, then your volume is going up, or it's kind of just like still the same thing, try and find a couple good ones? Because with me, I might have as many plays tonight as I did yesterday. And there's only 2 games tonight, you know?
It's so funny you say that because you are correct. Like today, there's 2 games, and for me, I couldn't obviously get into a minus 200 or 210 in the Vancouver Montreal game. I look into the first period. I would look into the Vancouver puck line to see if there's any value there. The Edmonton minus 130 sticks out like a sore thumb. Now,
Mhm.
I have a hard time biting the hand that fed me the night before.
I
So
like that phrase.
yeah, and it's the opposite as well. Like if you go against the team one night and you lose, and then you go with them the next night and lose again. So the short slate, I tend to peel the onion back even more.
Yeah. It's definitely about like looking at the different scenarios and being cautious with the bankroll and stuff. But tonight, I'm looking at some interesting props that I like tonight. And as you know, props can slowly build, and you're like, I like that one. Okay, this one I like, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh my god, there's 2 games tonight, and here we are. I got to give you credit though for that Minnesota pick because I was saying yesterday on some of the shows I did where I'm no bookmaker. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on the odds, movement, and all that stuff. But what I will say is that the more I've grown in this industry, the more I can understand kind of a fishy line. And yesterday, we don't use this expression very often in hockey, but the Rangers were a public dog yesterday in the NHL. Everybody and their entire family, brothers and sisters, were saying, how the hell are the Rangers this price? And good bet on spot for Minnesota. Minnesota at home, desperate spot for them. All of a sudden, nope, no more Shesterkin. It's Georgiev. And the number keeps getting higher and higher. So it's kind of funny. It reminded me of last week with Carolina and Washington. How many DMs did I get or people posting on Twitter? I saw, how the hell are Carolina minus 125 against the Capitals? What happened? The Capitals won that one 4-0. I mean, I had someone say to tell me that you can't buy into this stuff, but I truthfully believe if I see something that seems too good to be true, I either take the other side or I stay off because there's something there's some scenario where a team has played 4 and 6 days or 3 and 4 or a goaltending that we don't know about because that last night to me I still thought was a little bit high of a price for Minnesota, but a good bet on spot for them. And you nailed it with the puck line. And you talked about getting those, not too bad of a price on the money line, turning it into a puck line and getting a great price there. So hats off to you because I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I thought it was Rangers for sure. And the more I looked into it, I was like, why am I getting this price with them? Does that make sense? I got to ask you, what made you like the Wild yesterday?
I have to come full circle. I was doing the breakfast bankroll, and someone reached out to us, and they talked about the fact that, how do you pronounce that guy, the goalie's name?
Shesterkin or Georgiev?
Shesterkin. No,
Yeah.
Shesterkin. He goes, everyone is when he plays, everyone bets him, and
Mhm.
and so I looked at the puck line that opened up with the Wild plus 170, and then it dropped to plus 160, then it dropped to plus 150, and even in some spots it was plus 145, and the Wild costed us on Sunday our 3-team action parlay. That was our only loss against the Blues. 3 times, Andrew, last week.
Mhm.
Teams that we went against scored 3 goals in less than 3 minutes. And on
Wow.
Sunday, the Wild gave up 3 goals in less than a minute. It was 55 seconds to the Blues.
I remember that.
And it's just like I literally left the desk feeling real good, up to nothing, about to close out the second period, and I come back and I'm down 3-2, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" That was
Yeah.
the third time that happened to us, and they ended up losing the game. And then it was almost one of those, looking at the line, it was the same trend, it was the same blueprint, it was the same everything. Got the gift that they pulled, they switched the goalies, and I was on it the whole day, and I stuck with it.
I love it. And it's something that's kind of funny to me about the NA. Wow, I just sounded very Canadian the way I said that. I've never heard the way I say it about until I said it like that. That was bad. But what the goaltenders, how people go after them about how they cost a team the game. Let's look at even we'll use the Rangers as an example. It reminds me of I'm a diehard Blue Jays fan, and I talk about this sometimes when I use this in comparison. Marcus Stroman used to get the best run support on the Blue Jays. Whenever Aaron Sanchez would pitch a gem for them, they'd get no run support, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, this guy has like very few wins on the year, but his ERA is like a run and a half lower than Stroman or whatever it was, vice versa maybe. And I truly, truly, truly believe that sometimes there's a case for that stuff. And people won't believe me when I say that, but this Rangers team defensively performs different when Shesterkin is not in the net. And I believe it, and people will call me crazy for that, Jeff, because they'll say that that's the backup's job, is to come in bad situations and get the job done. It's the same thing when Halak played for Vancouver against the Devils. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I had the over in that game. He got shelled. I think the Devils won like 6-1 or something like that, or it was worse than that. And people always want to blame these backups, and I get it. That's their job, is to come in and play in these bad games situationally. But like last night with Jack Campbell and the Leafs, I thought like 3 months ago, he was a Vezina caliber goalie. He was the best goalie on the planet. How quickly have Leafs fans turned on this guy? How many 2-on-1s, how many tic-tac-toe plays did we see yesterday? But nobody will blame the defense. It's always got to be the goalie. And I promise you, I didn't play goalie growing up or anything, but I guess I just kind of defend these goaltenders for some reason. And I think a lot of it's just because nobody goes after defensemen anymore. It seems like it's just always the goalie's fault.
Well, you 2 good points there about the pitching and the goaltending. I go back to Monday. I thought the cherry on top for the Kings play was the fact that Allmark was in versus Swayman. And so now you talk about the Rangers situation, and the public is just waiting for that Shesterkin to be in, and they're just pounding them. And now you get the other goalie in, and like you said, it just seems like it's, I don't want to say it let down, but the defensemen kind of got to seem like they got to work a little harder.
Yeah.
It is. And going to the pitching, you're spot on that. I'll go way, way back. I'll date myself. When Roger Clemens would pitch or Pedro would pitch, the Sox would score 1 or 2 runs, and that was it. And then you get like, and now I'll go to nowadays. Well, he's gone now, but the same thing would happen when Chris Sale would pitch. There were stretches where they wouldn't score. They, Sale pitches 8 1/3, 7 2/3, gives up 1 run, and you're scratching your head. Then Erod comes out the next day, and they put up a 4 spot in the first inning for him. And you're like, what the hell is where was this yesterday?
Yeah. Well, that's why I know a lot of people that like to bet on these bad pitchers sometimes, because you get better odds with the team.
No doubt. And I think it's like this is defensively, when you have an ace on the mound, you go to the ballpark saying, okay, if we play great defense, we know we got the stopper. We just need a couple runs and we're going to win the game or at least be in the game. But when you got a lesser pitcher, the number 3, 4, or 5 starter, I mean, take a look at the under overs. Chris Sale's pitching, the under over 6.5, 7. And then you get to the 4th or 5th starter, and Tanner Houck's pitching, and the under over is 9.5, 10.
Yeah. That's a drop off. That's a drop off. Yeah.
Exactly. And the same thing in the pucks. So I guess my question to you, and we were talking overs, where the hell did this Yotes and Devils offense all of a sudden come from?
I'm shocked by the Coyotes offense, but I think the Devils have always had it, really. I think they've just been a little bit injured throughout the season, and I don't know. I think they're kind of playing with nothing to lose right now, and they're kind of playing very free. It's if you notice, a lot of their goals are like odd man rushes, like 2-on-1s, counterattack type goals. Like they're not as much of a cycle the puck type of team. They're not really built for that. They're not big enough, I don't think. Like most of their talented players are younger and skinny, but they're so fast. And I've been impressed with it. And same thing with the Coyotes, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, because I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I like to bet a lot of underdog team totals. And some people might say, well, why aren't you just taking advantage of the plus money on the money line? So yesterday I had the team total over for the Coyotes. Probably one of my easiest bets of the year, which is awesome. Probably one of the only times I bet on the Coyotes on the year. But I still get people saying to me, Jeff, well, why didn't you take the money line? I'm like, I don't care. I needed them to score 3 goals. They did it in the first period. I do that all the time with underdogs because I love the fact that team could lose for me, and all they need to have is 3 goals, and maybe if the data comes out that maybe, hey, you probably should start betting the money line, then I will. But what are your thoughts on that? A lot of times for me, when I'm betting dogs like that, I actually tend to look towards the team total, because in case that team loses, I still believe they can get to, 3 goals or something like that. Any thoughts down on that?
As I'm peeling the onion back, we'll take a basic math, easy NHL game here that the under over 6 juiced over. And then you go to the team totals. The favorite is 3.5 juiced under, and the dog is 2.5 juiced over. So the mindset very simply is this. Okay. I don't trust the dog at plus 160. So that's out. The over 6 is juiced under. So you got to get to 7 to cash the ticket. 6 is a push. So in your mind, is it 3-2 and the favorite gets the empty netter? So if you took the dog team total over 2.5, you're going to lose. You push on the under over at 6. Okay. So it's like that double-edged sword here. Okay. So in the mind, how my mind works, the over 2.5 is a lot safer play, because you just got to get to 3. You don't care what happens. 3-3, you're a winner, obviously, right? Or if you get to 3, it doesn't matter what happens. Okay. So if you get to OT or a shootout, it doesn't matter. Because if you're sitting there, like we talk about the Kings again on Monday, with a minute to go, they're down 2-1. They're plus 175. They played a great game. They scored with 29 seconds left. So now you're still not in, but you got to OT. You're still sweating the plus 175. They win 3-2. So if you took their team total over 2.5, you were a winner there. So I think you're doing this correctly. I mean, there's no right or wrong way, obviously. But I think you're dissecting this so spot on, because how many people are going to take the team total over 3.5? They're better off saying in their mind, well, I'm going to take the game money line, or they'll try to get cute and take it in regulation.
Exactly. And I've realized that if you're going to take a puck, a team like that as a favorite and their team total over, you might as well take the puck line, because that pretty much is. I do like team total overs on favorites. I will do it. No, like there's no denying it. But I think a lot of times if you like a team total over for a big favorite, you also probably like the puck line or the over full game, because unless you expect the other team to just do absolutely nothing, then it's going to have, and yesterday is a good example, I think, just because it's two teams that nobody, who was lining up to watch the Wings and Coyotes play, right? So like that's kind of the example for me where it was just like, I don't want to worry about what the heck Detroit does. I don't. I didn't know what they were going to do last night. I just wanted to worry about getting to 3 goals, and I know that did lose me out on, what was it, plus 150 or 70 something. It was a weird price for the Coyotes, honestly, but I guess it was the safe route for me just to go ahead and take the team total, and I don't have any regrets.
Any worries what's going on in the Avs world?
I'm worried about their goaltending situation a little bit, for sure. Well, the thing is, Darcy Kemper's their guy. I don't think they make a move. I'd be shocked if they made a move. Let me ask you this: if you had to create odds right now, what are your odds for will Marc-Andre Fleury be moved? Yes and no. What do you make them? Is it like a definitive, like, yes, like 100%, like lock it in minus 500 on Fleury gets moved, or what's?
Well, let me ask you this. Does he want? I guess the first question I would ask you is, does he want to get moved? I understand from the team, not going anywhere, whatever, they bring him over, yada yada yada. I guess as a business, yes, absolutely, as a business. But my question to you: does he have a say in the matter,
Yeah, he does.
He does.
He already declined Washington, from what I've heard. He already said no to Washington, which I was kind of surprised with, because that was a rival to Pittsburgh. And I think that he wants I believe in my heart that he wants a Canadian team. So the only two I could think of are Edmonton and Toronto. But with Jake Muzzin already back on the ice, I don't know how they'd be able to manage. Everyone's going to try and just do the LTIR loophole, and I hate it. I hate it. Mark, like, look at the the Vegas Golden Knights. They're playing like NHL on Xbox 360 right now, or Xbox One. I mean, they're what they're doing is, everybody loved the Jack Eichel trade in the moment. You give up Peyton Krebs, you give up Alex Tuck. Jack Eichel comes to town. Now you've got Mark Stone injured. Max Pacioretty's been in and out of the lineup. You're gonna keep Mark Stone injured as long as you can until the playoffs. Bring him back so there's no salary cap in the playoffs, and then see what happens with no chemistry whatsoever in that team. I mean, that's not a recipe for success, I think, when you've got several guys and several lines that never have played with each other. You look at Tampa Bay, they started that whole thing with Kucherov. That guy had a 82-game vacation, and then he came back and won the cup.
Short board tonight, Washington, Edmonton. We talked about opened at 130, now 127. Under over opened at 6.5, now a flat 6, over minus 20 cents. It is 6.5 at Westgate. You could actually do some window shopping. You can get it at 6 at Circa and 6.5 the rest of the Vegas Strip. So next week, if you are window shopping, you can bounce from your Westgate over to the Circa and then try to get the best line possible, or your BetMGM app. And Montreal, we talked about, opened at Vancouver minus 200, now minus 210. Opened up a flat 6, now 6 over minus 115. Any leans, any props, anything to give the viewers today?
You know what? I really like the over 6 tonight with the Canucks and Habs. I do. First game back, both teams have been scoring. First game back at home for the Canucks after that 6-4 game against Toronto. Montreal has been kind of just hanging out in the west coast of Canada. A couple days off for them. I saw some rookie treatment going on, which was kind of funny. Joel Edmondson had a bunch of the rookies, had to make them dressed up as divers. They were wearing like scuba gear and stuff. It was hilarious. I saw that floating around. But it seems like the guys are having some fun, but they've just been hanging out in the West Coast, and they're probably satisfied with their road trip right now. But what I think I like about Martin St. Louis is he's keeping the lines the same. He's not being that kind of coach that changes the lines every day, which I really like. And, unless Demko steals the show here, I think both teams can trade goals. In the prop market, I do think JT Miller gets on the board. He's around plus 150 to score a goal. And my favorite prop of the night here, and I think I know my team pretty well. So Josh Anderson over 0.5 points is plus 115. His line has been the make or break line. Nick Suzuki's played really well. Cole Caulfield, hate to say it, but since my buddy Ducharme has been released, he's been a whole new player, Cole Caulfield. And all we need is Anderson to get a goal or an assist, and that's plus 115 for us for a top line player that continues to get disrespect there in the prop market. So if there was a best bet I could give on this show, that's what I would give. Josh Anderson to get a point tonight, plus 115.
I'm in.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Throughout the show here, the crawler, where everyone can find you, obviously, on your social media at McInnis Picks, at Wager Talk, at Sports Mayflower. I always tell everyone to head over to YouTube to Mayflower Sports, subscribe. It's free. Smash the like button. But as we always close here weekly, Andrew, the stage is yours. Tell everyone where they can find every one of your shows. You're doing so many of them right now. Your content is just spot on, and I want everyone to hear where they can find you.
Well, I appreciate being on here with you. It's always fun, and it's the midday market report, but it's the midweek report with you and I. So here on Hump Day on Wednesday. So honestly, I just want to take the time to promote our event next Friday, March 18th. If you're going to be in Vegas for the madness, if you're from there already, join us at the Westgate March 18th. We've got some goodie bags with some shirts, some coffee mugs. We ordered a bunch of pucks, like actual hockey pucks, not like the fake ones, actual hockey pucks with our Puck Time logo on it. And we're going to have some drinks and just get to mingle and chat with people. So come by from 2:00 to 7 at the clubhouse in the Westgate. I believe Jeff is joining me, and it'll be a good time.
No doubt. I will be there, and I will make sure I get a puck. Actually, you know what? I'm going to get a puck, and I'm going to bring a Sharpie. I'm going to have you sign my puck.
You don't want that from me. You don't want to ruin the puck.
Hey, listen, this is, big things are brewing here for you. And, I'm going to be able to, turn to my kids when you're on TV, and I'm going to say, this guy, I'll bring him back into the archives. We started here, and now look at where this guy is.
You're too kind.
So from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, and from Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks at Wager Talk, we wish everyone a blessed day. We want everyone to have fun, enjoy the games. But as we close here, we always say this. We want you wagering and investing responsibly. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Because myself and Andrew care. We'd like to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Andrew McInnis and McInnis Picks, we wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy the madness, and see you next Friday at the Westgate.